So in today's video I want to show you how I use my Bluetti AC70 portable power station in the real world. When I was looking to buy, I watched lots of YouTube videos and didn't understand almost a single thing about what they were saying. They were far too technical for me. Why is it that we always park next to puddles? And what that's going to mean is that the dogs stay there, are going to get wet right from the word go. Stay. So on another cold and wet day, let's go for a dog walk and then finish with a freshly brewed cup of coffee made with the Bluetti. One of the many good things about having a smaller campervan is the way in which they just fit into almost any car parking space, and you can treat them as a car. Mind you, one of the disadvantages, of course, is that because they're not much bigger than a car, is the space inside is quite restricted. What that means is that if you've got two of you and two dogs, you barely fit in. You've got to be a little bit cosy at times, and that can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. What you've got to be, though, is when you're using that space, is you've got to be highly organised and try and keep on top of things. Make sure you put things away. Try not to have too many things in the first place. So when it comes to making coffee in the van, I reckon I've got several different options. The cleanest and the quietest is the electric kettle. So it doesn't take long to fill up the kettle. So plug in to the Bluetti. To be honest, when I first bought the Bluetti, I was a little bit concerned that it wouldn't be powerful enough to run implements. But you can see here on the drawer, it's below the capacity. I can't remember what it is. I'm not a techno geek, but that means it's not going to blow the system up. A lot of the online reviews of these things, whether it's a Bluetti or an Anchor or whatever, are talking heads really into all the technical specification, but I'm pretty much a numpty when it comes to electrics, and I'm never quite sure what that actually translates to. So I'm most impressed. I just switched it off there. So I'm most impressed if I can actually plug something in and operate it. And as you can see, it's drawing down. I can't remember the figure. It's something. Its capacity is over 1,000 on its full whack. So it's fairly close. I wouldn't like to put a bigger kettle onto this, but it's heating up the water quite quickly, and it's cleanly, no carbon monoxide being released into the campervan. So I'm perfectly happy with the safety part of it. Don't know about you, but when it comes to coffee, I much prefer to to have the real deal than something slightly more instant. So I'm quite happy to carry the extra weight and the extra fuss and so on. One for sorrow, one for joy, one for a girl, and one for a boy. Or something along those lines. I'm sure every country has its own weird and wonderful version of that. I probably put in more water than I really needed just for me, but there you go. So being the money-stricken person that I am, I can't really afford to go out and buy all the extra bits, the whistle and bells. So for example, some people have these things on solar panels connected to the roof. Others have the Bluetti charger that connects to the directly to the alternator, and it powers it up. I use the 12-volt DC thing from the so I use the 12-volt connection from in here whilst I'm driving, and generally in between campsites it will have charged enough to use it for the cooking for the next night. I think it takes about 4 hours or so to make the complete charge from 0 to hero. It rarely do I get to that level. If I'm on a campsite with an electric hookup, then I don't need to bother using this, although I can charge it. And generally speaking, hookups are not much more than a few quid. I've got an electric fan heater, and I've got an induction hob as well, all of which can be run if I'm connected to the mains. So cooking away quite nicely. So the beauty of this rig is not so much for extended camping trips, but if I'm just away for the day walking the dogs, or I've come back from a climb and I'm wanting to just have a quick brew before driving home, that's when it really scores. If I'm away for an extended 2 or 3 day trip, I'm more likely to try and get an electric hookup. So there we are, cup of coffee for 2, and I'm down to 87%. I reckon that's a fair trade, because that will allow me to make a chicken zorba tonight, and to run the electric heater off the battery just for half an hour or so to take the chill off the van. I didn't bother putting a gas heater, a diesel heater into this vehicle when I did the conversion. Again, largely because, like a lot of people, I didn't really have that much cash. It just seemed to me I'd put more insulation in and let body heat warm it up. When I've camped down to about -10 in this, when doing safety team work for ultra races, you find that you might get into a very cold van, but once you're in your sleeping bag, then you're relatively snug. So we'll let that just brew for a while. Switch that off, or rather, there we are. Disconnect. So what do different people say? Do they say to let that coffee brew, or to settle, or to whatever? I took a trip to Costa Rica this year and found that the coffee culture wasn't as significant as I thought it was going to be, largely because it wasn't a culture. They just drank the coffee rather than eulogised about it. Whereas I think us in the UK, we tend to still think of coffee as a bit of a treat. I think I did see recently that the significant majority of people drinking coffee in the UK go for instant coffee, like all the brands that you can get, and whereas I might prefer the what we call full fat. So there we are, 2 cups of coffee. down, 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 off. Okay, that's good balls. So we'll see what this is like travelling home. So I think the first thing we need to do is just secure it. Let's see if I can. So that's excuse me. So that's the thing secured. Put the charger, the DC charger in. And we'll see, we're starting off at 87%. We'll have a look at that when we get back. So there we are, we're up 3%. That was a 10-minute drive home. So if I was to drive an hour and a half to the next campsite, I suspect that the battery will have been completely charged again.